Despite countless advances in treatment, medicine, and counseling, mental illness remains one of the most persistent issues in our society. It crosses national and international borders, genders, and ethnicities at will, manifesting in a staggering variety of symptoms, disorders, and phobias. However, new research into the root cause and the potential solution for mental health issues have proved incredibly promising. Specifically, organizations like the Walsh Research Institute attempt to reveal the biochemistry behind mental disorders, including anxiety, depression, bipolar disorders, and schizophrenia. Perhaps most exciting is that such research is already resulting in new nutrient-based therapy protocols and other alternative solutions that expand far beyond the realm of medication and psychotherapy. Welcome to Dr. Young's Health Talk. Let us first understand the biochemical individuality. In recent decades, science has improved about moving away from generalizations when making diet, nutrition, and medication recommendations. Through our growing understanding of epigenetics and biochemistry, we have learned that each person, identical twin notwithstanding, have their own unique biochemical makeup. This results in highly personalized nutritional needs. When those needs are not met, it can impact our physical and mental health in various ways. Indeed, we now know that there are stark genetic differences in how our bodies process foods. If we too follow the traditional food pyramid or embrace any other generalized diet, it would leave the vast majority of people highly deficient in much needed nutrients and overflowing with the others. In short, so-called recommended daily allowance are a recipe for disaster. Perhaps most eye-opening of all is the discovery the excessive storage of nutrients is actually far more damaging than deficiency, from calcium and copper to iron, folic acid, and choline. Many of us have built up vast stores of nutrients that are doing far more harm than good. Actually, the nutrient intake can drastically affect our mental health. At their core, most mental health issues are chemical in nature. In fact, most people who manifest ADHD, depression, schizophrenia, and various behavioral disorders have a genetic predisposition toward brain chemical dysfunction. And since neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine are ultimately constructed out of the nutrients we consume, it is not hard to see why many experts are paving a direct path between what we eat and how we act. Moreover, any system that needs a personalized set of nutrients will malfunction when supplied with the wrong ones. Take depression for instance. Many people who suffer from clinical depression have a genetic disorder that permanently lacks B6. As this vitamin is a significant factor in serotonin synthesis, they are already predisposed to having their condition become chronic. Study after study confirms that this sort of thinking is correct. For example, epigenetic researchers have found that both methionine and SAMe can significantly inhibit serotonin reuptake, just as many prescription antidepressants are designed to do. Similarly, folates and niacinamide can suppress neurotransmission across subjects' dopamine receptors, resulting in the opposite effect. And this is just a start. As the science behind biochemical mapping continues to improve, we will gain the ability to dial in specific nutritive solutions for mental problems on a per-person basis. Not only does this present a more cost-effective alternative to pharmaceuticals, but it is potentially 100% natural or bioidentical as well. The future is the advanced nutrient therapy. There is a database of over 20,000 patients with various mental health issues, all of whom have undergone biochemical mapping. This catalog quickly evolves into a holy grail of nutrition-based behavioral therapy. At the same time, it has given men and women who suffer from such issues a deeper understanding of their various struggles. To adequately demonstrate the advances made in the past few years, we will discuss some of the most common biochemical factors found throughout the mapping process, things like overmethylation. Methyl groups are like tiny switches inside your brain, managing processes ranging from the stress response, fight or flight mechanism, to hormone regulations and gene expressions. Overmethylation is commonly seen in individuals with ADHD, depression, anxiety, and sleep disorder. It is typically characterized by a high percentage of SAMe and adverse reaction to treatment with common serotonin enhancers like Prozac, Paxil, and Zoloft. Nutrient treatments generally contain vitamin B3 and vitamin B12 and folates, reducing dopamine and norepinephrine activity. Patients are also recommended to avoid source of copper and methionine, which can worsen their symptoms. On the opposite side, you have undermethylation. This is often seen in patients with OCD, seasonal depression, and other conditions associated with low serotonin. Interestingly enough, these individuals also display physical and mental markers that range from seasonal allergies to perfectionism and competitiveness. Unlike their overmethylated counterparts, they respond well to Paxil and Zoloft but typically experience side effects. A nutrition-based approach would include SAMe, methionine, magnesium, and calcium while avoiding folates. Thyroid disorder is something we have already discussed in another video. Still, it is worth mentioning in more details here. Essentially, we're looking at a deficiency in zinc and vitamin B6, with symptoms ranging from mood swings and temper problems to poor short-term memory and sensitivity to stimuli. A nutrient approach to this disorder would balance B6 and zinc levels by prioritizing tuna, salmon, chickpeas, nuts, and seeds. Copper plays a factor in many behavioral disorders, including hormonal depression and ADHD. These individuals have a genetic predisposition that causes difficulties regulating copper, zinc, and manganese in most cases. In fact, research has already shown how elevated copper levels can drastically affect dopamine and norepinephrine production, leading to all manner of behavioral problems. When prescribing nutrient-based treatment, we tend to focus on the avoidance of enriched foods that might contain copper, such as spirulina, and those that contain it naturally, like organ meats. Now we see that mental health has a dietary solutions. As biochemical individuality becomes a more widely accepted and recognized concept, nutrient-based alternatives to mental health treatment will only continue to multiply. This is a fantastic news for those seeking comprehensive, proven alternatives to pharmaceuticals and traditional psychotherapy. In fact, studies have already been published on nutrient therapies use for everything from preventing school shooting to better treating Alzheimer's patients. The goal is to address surpluses and deficiency in vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that affect neurotransmitter activities. In going directly to the root of the problem, it is hoped that nutritional solution can be both more systematic and more sustainable. In the end, biochemical individuality is a fact, with both medical and scientific communities agreeing that the neurotransmission issues form a direct line between behavioral and mental disorders. The dots have been connected. The solution to future mental health disorder could be as close as your nearest supermarket with the right breakthrough.